Good morning and welcome to today's podcast. I have with me Gogo. Gogo, welcome and thank you for joining us on Mindset today.
Thank you so much for having me.
I am very excited to speak with you, Gogo. This is very different than the standard mindsets that we do. To start with, you are a real estate agent. Where are you currently servicing as far as territory goes?
Yeah, so I'm licensed in Michigan. That's the only real estate license that I have, but we have two homes. We live between Florida and Michigan.
Florida and Michigan. Awesome. So why not licensed in Florida?
I mean, that was my intention initially, but now I actually no longer sell anymore. I have a local team here in Michigan. Then we also have a nationwide and international team that we call Team Gogo, over 900 agents. So mostly what I do is I refer all of our leads out, and I get paid as a referring agent.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
So for that, I don't need to have a license in Florida, right? Because the agent I'm referring to has a license in Florida.
Yeah,
So
that's that's kind of the dream, huh? Every real estate agent at some point in their lives wants to get into the referral business and just refer out leads and kind of sit back and enjoy the referrals coming in. So before we get into that, I just do want to give the viewers a little bit of a background as to why you're on today, because I'm very excited to talk a lot about social media and the impact that social media has on a business, because you are the top 125 most influential people of 2022 by Success Magazine, ranked 16 on the top 100 realtors on Instagram in the USA, and voted top real estate agent on social media for Detroit, Michigan. And this one's exciting. Property Spark voted #1 real estate agent on social media in Michigan. How did social media, Gogo, become such a intricate part of your real estate business?
So I started out like every other agent, broke, right? And I had to figure out how am I going to make a name for myself? I mean, I wasn't born with the silver spoon in my mouth, and I had no sphere of influence. I moved to the US. I'm originally from Transylvania, Romania. I moved to the US when I was 21. So I went to college. So I went to schooling up to high school in Romania, and then I went to college in Hungary. And then from there, in my third year, I moved to the US. So I was already 21 years old when I moved here. I had no one. Like, I didn't have college friends or cousins or high school friends that are going to be buying a house or selling a house with me. I literally had no sphere of influence. I had no money to be buying leads. And that's another source in real estate, right? Most agents start out with buying leads from the Zillow, the Trulias, and the Realtor.coms or any other third-party company. And I didn't have that. And I also had a little bit of a chip on my shoulder. I'm the sorest loser you'll ever meet. And I done the research, and 80% of the realtors don't make it in the first 2 years. So 8 out of 100 realtors leave the industry altogether in the first 2 years. And I didn't want to be a part of that percentage, right? So I had to figure out, how am I going to make a name for myself without having a sphere, without having money? And the only thing I could think of, because I was like, okay, who is going to buy a house from me? And I was like, strangers, okay?
Right.
Where do you find strangers? Where are the strangers? And at that time, they were on Facebook, right? So I was like, okay. I started Gogo's Real Estate on Facebook as a business page. I was probably the first agent in Livingston County that had a business Facebook page. And I just did a bunch of pictures and videos and selfies, and, and then I took it over to Instagram, and then to LinkedIn, and then to Google, and then you name it, I'm everywhere.
So you were doing the influencer game before it really got even known about, that, because that early on, I mean, when did you get your real estate license?
2011.
2011. And when you first started out, I mean, how difficult was it at becoming a real estate agent after the 2008 crash?
I mean, first of all, my name is Gogo, right? So let's start there, right? All of my friends. So I asked them, should I keep my nickname, or should I, like, in corporate America prior to real estate, they called me Gwen.
Okay.
Because Gogo wasn't professional enough, right? And I'm sorry to all the Gwens out there. I'm just not a Gwen, right? So I wasn't relating to that. So when I was getting into real estate, I was like, I need to change my name. I need to be me, and my nickname is Gogo. And all of my friends, I asked them, what should I do? And they all said, do not use the name Gogo, because it's the wrong 1-800 number, right? And I was like, and I went against them all, right? And I ended up using my name Gogo. And then what was your question? How did I get to that name situation? How hard was it? How hard was it?
The 2011.
So we got over the name situation, and then we got over the no money and no whatever situation. So then I got to Facebook, and then really it was just trying to make a name for yourself, and in my case in a weird way. So then it was social media, because that was the only way that I could afford or had a clue how to do, right? I used to get made fun of all the time. Like I would go to events or realtor events or this and that, and agents would be like, oh, there's Gogo, she's going to take another selfie, right? And I always knew that selfies are just going to pay the bills for me one day. I just knew it. I don't know where and how, I just knew it. I believe that God gives you an idea. It gives it to you because he knows that you have the skills that it requires to make that idea a reality. Do you have the balls, as I like to say, to take action? I don't know, right? I feel like I knew that idea was meant for me. I took action, and here we are 11 years now in the industry, and now it's switched, right? Now I became the expert. There's a saying of, first they call you crazy, then they ask you how you did it.
Yeah, okay. I haven't heard that one, but
no, there's one more step in between, but I can't remember what it is. But it's first they call you crazy, then they ask you how you did it.
Then they realize you won, and now they want to know how you do it.
Exactly. So then it switched, right? So I stuck it out no matter how hard it was, or no matter how weird I was in the industry. And then today I have multiple courses and 2 Camel Club awards for each of the courses, and all of those things of now I teach others how to do the same thing, how to build a brand around yourself. You build your own brand, so then you can lead generate with your own brand. Because I've never bought a lead in my life. I never bought a Zillow lead or any of those other third-party companies. So my goal in the industry is now to teach other agents to do the same. So then you never have to rely on a third party how to feed your family. You always know where to go to fish.
I love that. So I'm new to the real estate space, and I'm looking to get started. How often am I looking to post? Am I going on all social media platforms at once, or do you generally recommend someone start with one, really hone in on that one platform and move to a different one?
Yeah. So consistency is key, right? Anything else. So let's say you said, hey, Gogo, I want a cold call. And just how often should you cold call? It's like, how often do you want to see results? Right? If you cold call once a day, or if you post once a day, then you're going to maybe hopefully see results once a day, right? If you do it every single day for 7 days a week. So I do an average of 1 to 2 posts. And then I also do about anywhere from 15 to 20 stories every single day.
Wow.
Right? Wow. So that consistency, right? Number 1. Number 2, you have to link your accounts together. You shouldn't have to think of all of the different platforms that they are different platforms. You should think of them, they are different because they are different in a little bit. And I'll explain the difference between them. But you should hit every single one of them. So what I do is I always post on Instagram, and Instagram is like my home hub, right? That's where I feel most comfortable with. Everything I post on Instagram, but it's automatically linked to my Facebook. So when I'm posting on Instagram, it automatically goes over to Facebook, unless I say that this one is not appropriate to Facebook, so I'm not going to share it over. But about 90% of the time, everything goes over to Facebook. Then I have a virtual assistant. I have multiple, but one of my virtual assistants' job is to take that Facebook post or Instagram post and then feed it over to the different Facebook groups, and also feed it over to LinkedIn, because LinkedIn you can't attach to these other platforms yet. So I hit them in every single platform. And then there's YouTube, right? So YouTube, where most of my videos are shot vertically, because I do stories most of the time, right? For YouTube, you need horizontal. So if you want to do YouTube, then you kind of have to take a conscious extra step. And that video that you just shot vertically, you have to shoot it again and horizontally. So then it feeds or fits the platform that you want to share it in. But I would try to, if you are doing social media, try to do it all.
Where would you start? Because it would be very difficult. Unless you say you got to do them all at once, but it seems to be very time consuming. It's a lot of investment that you've been taking in, and to become, proficient in all of this. How does somebody get started? What kind of equipment do you recommend working with? Is a phone enough?
This thing right here. This is my equipment. This is my office, as I like to say. So I run 7 businesses. Many of them are multi-million, and I run it right off of this little gadget right there. So you can easily do it all. It's really not that. I think the biggest issue, people overcomplicate things. It's not that hard. Number 1, figure out what your name is going to be. So I am Gogo's Real Estate everywhere. Okay. Whatever your brand is going to be, you call it Danielle Persevere.
Nice. We didn't even practice that. Yep.
Oh, good. Okay. So maybe you call the Danielle Persevere brand, right? And then you're going to be that brand everywhere. So number 1, what you need to do is you need to go on Instagram and see if that name is available. because if somebody's already using it, then you're out unless you want to pay for the name, right? So let's say nobody's using it. You're going to create that name. Then you're going to go to .com. So you're going to go to GoDaddy, right? And you're going to make sure that DanielParsevin.com is available, right? So you're going to go on there and you're going to buy your brand. Then you're going to, so these are the two big ones that you cannot change. On Facebook, on LinkedIn, you can have 10 Daniel Parsevins. It doesn't matter, right? On those platforms, you can. So the two most important is Instagram and it's your .com, because you need to own your name, right? You need to own your brand. Now then, you have that. You're going to go on Facebook. You're going to create your business page or your professional profile, depending on what avenue you run in, right? And then as soon as you created that and you created your Instagram, now you're going to link them together. If you don't know how to link it together, Google it. How do I link my Facebook business page to my Instagram business page? And it's going to give you step-by-step instructions. Voila. Then you're going to go to LinkedIn. You're going to create your bio and your links and whatever. Then you're going to go to your website. You're going to build your website, right? You're done. After that, after all of those things are created, you just post. And it's linked together already.
Love it. Step-by-step instructions.
It's so simple.
I mean, it's simple for those who've been in the game. It sounds complicated. I'm sure there's a lot of complication going on in there, but at the end of the day, I mean, account creation is a lot of it is just on you, the brand and what I guess what is it that the narrative you want to tell people about yourself? Because you don't have it. It didn't seem like you came from a very easy. You said you didn't have a silver spoon, but anybody who comes from a different country and starting off brand new really has to go through the grind. So, what do you think it was about that move that brought you here that allowed you to become such a go-getter?
That's a great question, and I don't know if I know the answer to it. Right? I also feel sometimes that we are created the way we are. Right? I couldn't be any other person because this is the only person I know how to be, right? But with that being said, I remember getting on the train. I was supposed to actually come with my best friend, and last minute she's like, I cannot leave home. So then I was alone on the train, and I remember just before getting on the train, she's like, aren't you gonna be homesick? Like, what are you gonna do if I'm like, I know where Romania is, so if this doesn't work out, I'll just get on a plane and I'll come right back. Like, I know where it's at, right? Number one. Number two, again, I'm the sorest loser. So if I came this far, and if I left everyone behind, my mom, my dad, my sister, my childhood friends, my cousins, everybody's back in Romania, my grandparents, my uncles, aunts, right? Everybody's back in Romania. If I left them all behind, then this thing that I'm building right here, it has to be worth it. I cannot come out here to America and live a freaking mediocre life. And for what? Then might as well go home then.
Right.
Might as well go be with your family. So that's the reason not that I need to prove it to my parents or that I need to prove it to anybody. It's not that. It's more so I want to look back at my life and be like, this is why I skipped out on all of the birthday parties and I didn't get to see my parents get old and I wasn't there for Christmas. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Right? So it's kind of that it has to be worth it.
Mm-hmm. So what was it that this made you decide you wanted to come to the US? If everything, you had your entire family and everybody was in Romania, what was the triggering instance that made you say, it's time for me to move. I want to go to the US?
I always felt like a little oddball out. Okay. I never felt like I fit in. I don't feel like I was different from my family mentality wise. I was always a big dreamer, right? And I always believe that you can do whatever you want. And mind you, I was born in communism. My parents lived in their young adulthood in communism. So we always joke and say, you can take a person out of communism. You can never take communism out of a person, right? Okay. But it's beat it into you, right? And so being born with my parents, even though they have an entrepreneurial mindset, they still had quite a bit of communism in them, right? Okay. And I was like, I don't fit in here. Like, I need to go somewhere where I can say what I want and do what I want and be who I want to be and be with who I want to be. And I was born into a country where it mattered what kind of education you have. Mm-hmm. And my parents couldn't afford to send me to college. It mattered what nationality you are, because I was born in Romania, but I was Hungarian by nationality. So it was whatever. It mattered what gender you are. Right, the woman's place is in the kitchen. Like, oh yeah, to get a knife. Yeah, no. It mattered. Yeah, it mattered who you know. It mattered what bloodline you are from, who are you related to, right? And all of those things. And I feel like coming to the US, it's freedom. I can say whatever I want. I can be whoever I want. It doesn't matter who I know. It doesn't matter if I have college education. It doesn't matter if I have money. It doesn't matter if I'm man or woman. It doesn't matter if I'm Hungarian. I wanted freedom. I wanted away from what I was born into because I knew I didn't fit in. And I wanted to try a place where it seemed to me that it was freedom. It seemed to me that you can do whatever you want.
So you moved to the US in 2003, if I'm not mistaken, and you got your license in 2011. So what did you do between 2003 and 2011?
I like to joke and say process of elimination. So I did a lot of jobs. So I came as an au pair, a live-in nanny. And then I worked in a jewelry store. Then I was a babysitter. I worked in a restaurant. I worked at NSF International in the plastics department, data entry. Then I worked in a warehouse for shipping and receiving. I worked in, I have a restaurant food safety certification.
Jeez.
I've been a restaurant auditor. I worked in a jewelry store. I worked in a restaurant as a server. I could continue on. So it was a lot of random jobs, right? To see what I want to be when I grow up. And then becoming a realtor wasn't even my idea. My neighbor at that time, so I was at NSF International when I had my second son, and he got sick when he was 9 weeks old, and we got hospitalized for a month.
Oh, I'm sorry.
And during that period, thank you. During that period, I got fired from my corporate America job, which they did me a favor because I could stay home with my child and collect unemployment. It was truly it was a blessing. But in the moment I was pushing my child into surgery and I got the call that I'm fired, I was like, you're kidding right now.
Hey, not a fun call to make at a fun time. I'm sorry.
I have bigger problems right now, right? But anyways, in the end, it ended up being a blessing in disguise, right? And so I ended up being a stay-at-home mom for a little bit with our children. And I would say probably for about a year and a half, I did that. And I'm not a stay-at-home mom. Like I just, I need to go put makeup on. I need to like speak English besides Gogo Gaga. I need to contribute to the family. I need to make money in order to feel like I'm worth something, right? So my neighbor thought that I would make a great realtor because she was a marketing director for a title company. So it was her idea. She even talked to the brokerage and I was like, okay. So I went and talked to them. They said they would pay for my school if I passed. I passed, I paid for it. So by far my investment into real estate is $0. That was called Real Estate One. I stayed with them for 7.5 years. So in February of 18, I switched to Keller Williams. I stayed with them for 8.5 months. And then November of 18, I switched to EXP and I've been with EXP ever since.
That's an extensive background of jobs before you find your calling, which, in reality is what everybody really should be doing. I think people tend to worry a little too much about what they're doing rather than what they want to do. And that's where a lot of people don't find their calling. So kudos to you to try so much.
Yeah, I never had that calling, right? So I remember even in middle school and stuff, people are like, oh, when I grow up, I'm going to be a ballerina and I'm going to be a vet and I'm going to be a pilot and I'm going to be a doctor. I don't know what I'm going to be, right? I still don't know what I'm going to be when I grow up, right? I just want to do, the saying is that you don't work a day in your life when you love what you do. That's what I want to do when I grow up.
So is this still being a real estate? Is that the agent? Is that still just one more step to you, doing whatever it is that you do that's going to make you happy?
Absolutely. But then since then, I was actually sitting on a plane last week and got into a conversation with the person next to me, right? And he goes, what do you do for a living? And I was like, what do I do for a living? Look, I don't even know what I do anymore, right? I have 7 businesses. It started out in real estate and somehow all of my businesses are kind of tied to real estate, right? But I'm not technically just a realtor anymore, right? So I do so many different things, but I love every single one of them. Each of them are like a little baby arm of what I enjoy doing, right? So I love what I do. I absolutely love what I get to do, not have to do, right? And I want to continuously and help help others to do what they want to do. So coaching is one of my favorite things to do.
Yeah, so let's spend a little bit of time about coaching because a lot of our viewers are real estate agents, and a lot of our viewers are using the SetSchedule platform, and they're looking to collaborate and connect with other professionals in the real estate space, and that's why they're on the platform. And the reason why they're watching this podcast is because they need a little bit of insight into the mindset of someone who, like you, has their arms in 7 different businesses, and coaching is definitely one of the most desirable podcasts because people want to learn from someone who's been doing it for so long and has been able to create a network. How did you get into coaching, and when did you realize, this is what you actually really enjoy doing?
So it was kind of so it goes back to the social media part of it, right? So first they were making fun of me, then they were asking questions of like, hey, Gogo, why do you do that? How do you do that? Can you ask me this question? And I got to the point where I was answering the same questions over and over again, like a broken record. I was like, oh my gosh, if I have to answer the question again. So then I recorded myself, right? So then all of my thought process and everything that we do on social media and how to build a brand on social media, I turned it into a course that's we called Gogo's Bootcamp.
Okay.
So you can go to gogobootcamp.com and kind of figure it out. On there we have 4 different things on right now. Number 1 was my social media course. So that's if you want to learn social media, that's the social media one, right? Okay. The next one is agent attraction. So after I switched to EXP, I have attracted over 900, and we have over 912 agents now in the Team Gogo organization, as we call it. So then I became an expert in agent attraction. I have another course on agent attraction. Then I'm a huge advocate for using assistants. I don't even know how many assistants I have anymore and who does what anymore. I have a million little Gogos running around. So then we started another program that's called We Clone You. That's a virtual assistant program that we pretty much help you tell me what your business is built, like where you need help, and then find you the right help. And we build those assistants into your business. And then not lastly, one of the other ones that we started is transaction coordination, because a lot of an agent's time is spent on pushing paper. And that's data entry.
That's not where we make money. That's not where we make money.
And most agents don't stop and calculate how much money they make. What is their hourly rate on the buy side and their hourly rate on the listing side? So again, I'm the biggest math nerd that you'll meet. So I'm all about knowing your numbers, because if you don't know it, you can't track it. If you can't track it, you can't grow it, right? So my goal is to help you remove absolutely everything off of your calendar that is not worth your time. So then you can create time for yourself to work on your business and not in your business, right? I used to do one-on-one coaching. I don't do that anymore because my hourly rate now is $4,200. So unless you can afford me, I don't do one-on-one. So most of the coaching calls come with some of these programs that you decide to opt into, depending where you have a need, right? But the reason I grabbed my phone is because we have quite a few massive Facebook groups. So I wanted to give you those groups because in there, when I share my thoughts, those are all free, right?
Please,
so number 1 is 7-figure social agent. So if you go on Facebook and you plug in 7-figure social agent, that's one of my Facebook groups. So you're more than welcome there. And the other one is one of the largest real estate groups. Well, let me find it. It's Real Estate USA, something like that, I think. Let me find it very quick.
So what we'll do is we'll actually post the Facebook links down below in the YouTube. On the YouTube video, so that people can jump into it.
So it's Real Estate Community USA.
Real Estate Community
USA.
Got it.
Yeah, it's one of the largest. I think we have 500,000 agents on there or something like that. One of the largest real estate groups on Facebook. And then also Instagram, Gogo's Real Estate on Instagram. That's where I pretty much share all of my knowledge. When I have a thought, I grab my camera and I tell you how I really feel.
I love the fact that you publish so much agnostic information, especially for real estate agents, because there's so much information out there and people tend to, congregate towards it. Let me ask you, what's the difference between someone who wants to do it versus someone like yourself who's constantly always on the move? And look, again, the information's out there, but not everybody tends to take action on that information. Where do you think what separates you from kind of that crowd that is there but not as active as you are?
I mean, action, right? I mean, having a thought in your mind or having a dream or a goal, it's all, excuse my friends, shits and giggles. But if you're not going to take action on it, it's worth absolutely. If you're going to sit there for 10 years and ponder about it, what good is that going to do, right? So the difference between the two is taking action. Most people don't take action because they probably worried about, I couldn't tell you because I don't think like that, right? But I imagine it as they think about, what if it doesn't work out? And what is my cousin going to say? And what if it's a failure? And I don't give a fuck. Can I say that? I don't give a bunny rabbit what people think.
Yeah.
I could care. I don't even stop to think about what would they think. Like, I don't care. I look at life. I rather look back and be like, oh, well, that was stupid, right? Versus look back and be like, what would have been like if I tried that? I would never want to live life of what would have been like.
Yeah, there's always that fear of rejection or fear of failure that I think is probably the two biggest fears.
I don't have an
Not in Gogo's
of
world,
that.
huh? Not in Gogo's world.
Not an ounce of that. What are you gonna say? No? Okay, I'll ask you again.
Fear of
And you
rejection.
say yes.
Yeah.
I don't take no for an answer. I'm gonna do it anyway.
Do you feel as though you've gained more from failure or gained more from success when it comes to pushing business forward?
I love the feeling of success.
Okay.
I don't ever stop to think about the failure part.
Okay.
Right? The only reason I would ever stop to think about if we failed, right, is to see why. What did I do? What did I not do?
Absolutely.
That we got that result, right? So to me, every failure is a lesson. Have I learned the lesson that I needed to learn so that I don't ever commit that mistake again?
Yes.
Right? Having a different failure, that's totally fine. Having the same failure, you just didn't stop to learn the lesson. So I like to, if we fail, I'm like, okay, where did we fuck up? Mm-hmm. Let's figure it out. Let's not ever do that again.
And that goes hand in hand with all the data that you spoke about and measuring to be able to take action on it. And we're, as a technology company, we're the same way. We collect data because data is king for us. And knowing where we failed is what allows us to better the process. Even if it wasn't a total failure, every step there's something that can be learned. I say this with my team. I'll never get upset with you if you make the same mistake once. I'll start to get upset if you make the same mistake twice. It's when if you make the same mistake for the third time, where now we really have to have a conversation, because you should really never. I mean, again, the second mistake is on you. Just means you didn't calculate it correctly. Let's look at it again. But I love that. I love the fact that failure is definitely part of a life lesson that allows you to grow on your side. So.
Like we just did, like I do affiliate income. A lot of my income is affiliate income, right? Mm-hmm. And we do promote this and this and this and that and this and that every single day, right? And then in the end of the month, I look at the report and be like, well, that's stupid because we made $8.30 on this product, right? Then why on earth are we doing that? Mm-hmm. Are we just doing it because we have nothing else to do? Then why don't we take this product that paid us $1,090 a week
and put better
and do it twice?
Into there, right?
Right. But if you don't track it, you don't know.
Yeah.
And it's not a failure. It's not that we did something wrong. It's just there's no need on the market for that specific product or whatever that we are doing, right? So stop doing whatever's not working. I mean, maybe that's the other problem too. Some people just don't know when to stop, and they just keep doing the same thing over and over again. Insanity. And that's the definition of insanity.
Exactly. And that the real estate space seems to be, that's what they teach you as a brokerage. They teach you the same old school tactics that everybody else is doing, and you're not able to differentiate yourself. And part of the success that someone like you has, Gogo, is the fact that you are so different than so different in mindset and so different in, I guess, your frameworks that you put in your business to be able to be successful. And more agents definitely need to take advantage of the knowledge that the social media queen is putting out there, and I can very much appreciate that. By the way, how did you get that title? Where did that title come from?
I don't know. I don't know who started it or where. They just call me the social media queen of real estate.
Interesting.
I guess I became good at social media. Then they started inviting me to come speak at events, and probably at one event the introduction started, and it snowballed.
Weird question, but what is your most interesting, I guess, communication that you've had with someone on Instagram that's led to, you getting business?
That's a great question. Oh, actually, it would be Sammy. I'll share Sammy. So Sammy is my business.
Okay.
So Sammy is my business partner, and he was, I think, 19 at the time when he messaged me, right? And we are talking 5 years ago, 4 years ago, probably. He left me a voice note
Okay.
on Instagram, and I'm like, this kid got some balls, excuse my French, right? Because most people will type up a half a pager, very nice and polite, right? Like I have 17 hours to read a message. I don't, right?
I
And
have
he did
5 seconds.
it. Yeah, he just left me a voice note, and I was like, wow, like he's solid in his being. I kind of like it. And today we are literally business partners. We own 3 businesses together.
Sammy is a character. He's a new addition to our team, and he's awesome. Really love him.
He is awesome.
He really love him. He brings this a totally different dynamic, and the amount of energy this man has is one. It's like I've never seen ever with anybody else, and we really like Sammy. So I'm glad we were able to snag him in a sense from you.
That's awesome.
You have like we did mention your boot camp classes. If someone was interested in getting involved with you, what would be you mentioned the website? What would be the best way to actually get in touch and start taking the courses, and what could they expect?
Yeah. So I guess gogosbootcamp.com. So go on there, do your research, right? So every single thing that we do, you go to kind of like a process. You will jump in a calendar with my team. They'll ask you the right questions. They make sure that the programs will be a good fit for you. And then you kind of take the step or not take the step from there, right? If you take the step, most of our programs come with group coaching calls. So once a month, you're going to see me and Sammy. We teach on different subjects, right? And depending which group that you are in, are you in the agent attraction group? It's a different training than social media is a different training than the virtual assisting program and all of those things. So it just depends what needs you have. And then now the next thing you're going to be coming out with is going to be more like a small business boot camp. So I will have all kinds, it will be social media related, and then we'll have different buckets for all of the different types of small businesses and how that would apply to them. And so as we are growing, we are keep adding into the programs as, as technology changes, as industry changes, all of those things.
That's interesting. What's next for Gogo? Because it seems like you've got so much going on and you have capacity to take on more. What's the ultimate?
I do, but I tend to overwork myself because I truly love what I do, right? So to me, it's not work. So I will do it at 2:00 in the morning because I'm so excited about it. At the same time, I was so proud that I'm a stay-at-home mom and I get to go on vacations and pick up my kids and drop off my kids. But who am I kidding, right? So even when I'm vacation on the beach, I'm on my phone, I'm on a Zoom call, I'm on a podcast, right? So that needs to change. So I'm actually, what's on my schedule and what I'm very much looking forward to is slowing down. So my goal was to build my businesses where they're passive. So 95% of my income is passive. If I never roll out of bed again, we'll be perfectly fine. I could never do that because again, it's not me, right? But so my goal is to work Monday to Friday. Monday to Wednesday. I'm going to squeeze in as much as I can. So Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday are going to be my working days. And then I will have long weekends for the rest of my life. So Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday is off grid.
That's amazing. Look, we talk about all the time, if somebody wanted to mirror what you're doing, can anybody do it, do you think? Or does it take a very specific type of person to be able to create a business that is 95% passive income that allows you to have a 4-day weekend?
Okay, so let's see. So in average, I make 22 posts. There's 365 days, and I did it for 12 years. Anybody can do it who's willing to make 96,360 posts.
Math. I love it. Makes it easy.
It's very simple. Can you do that? If you can do that, yes, you can do that.
I love how you frame it in such a way that it seems very simple. It's not that simple though, is it?
It's very simple. If you have a crazy ass work ethic, then it's very simple, right? I was on a call with so if they are my business partners, so if they are a Team Gogo member, I do coaching one-on-one, but they have to be my business partners here at EXP. So one of my business partners wanted to have coaching calls with me. So she was finally ready, right? So we had it set once a week. Week 2, she called, can we set it bi-weekly? It's just too much work weekly. Yeah, it absolutely can. It's just going to take you twice as long to see the results. Now, my problem, do you want to be successful 2 years from now or this year? right? So it's work ethic. I have a crazy work ethic.
How many hours a day are you in work mode?
Okay, so I'll show you. Christy. Christy's over there laughing. Okay, so my day started here at 8:30. I had a coaching call.
Mm-hmm.
Then I had to do my hair because that has to be my calendar, right? Because otherwise I don't have time to do it. Then at 10 to 11, I had an intro training about an app. At 11, I have this podcast with you. So every Tuesday, 11, I do a podcast. Then I have a phone call from 12 to 12:30, another call from 1 to 1:30, another call from 1:30 to 2. Then my 2 o'clock canceled, but I replaced it with another call from 2 to 3. Then I have a 4 to 4:30, a 4:30 to 5, and then a 5 to 8, and then I'm done.
Mm-hmm.
And we started at 7 talking this morning. So, and this is my schedule.
And that's just the 13-hour work schedule. I'm sure other stuff goes on after hours that you have to.
And then I haven't even responded to emails, text messages. Usually, if I have that 20, 30 minutes in between 2 appointments, right, I look at my message at any given, like yesterday at 9:30 in the morning, I had 42 text messages.
Mm-hmm. Wow. And all 42 are what?
Some business related, some life, friends, teachers, all kinds of just life,
How similar is what you do to being the CEO of a business?
Well, I am a CEO of 7 businesses, literally. Here's the thing, right? I've never worked in a CEO position in a corporate America job,
Mm-hmm.
right? So I created these opportunities for myself and I became the CEO of those companies, right? And I kind of run it my way. So I don't know what another CEO does who's being in a paid CEO position,
Right,
but
right.
I pretty much always work. So the only way that I can make sure that everything is taken care of, like in just one of our businesses yesterday in our Gogo's real estate side of things, right? I had 11 assistants on the same call.
Mm.
And everybody does something else, right? We have a social media assistant, we have a Facebook group assistant, we have a personal assistant, we have an executive assistant, we have a numbers guy, we have a tech guy, we have a design girl. Who am I forgetting? There's 3 more. Real estate and 2 more. So it literally takes a village, just like it takes a village to raise a family, right? It takes a village to run one business. So as long as you can remove a lot of the things from your own plate, right? And create a bunch of mini yous who can take that step, right? Because you cannot possibly grow if you want to run it all yourself. It's impossible.
Right. I mean, it's so from what I'm hearing, it's your framework of your businesses are structured the same way that you would any other company. You just don't have the title of CEO. You have people who work for you in the different departments, and in a sense, you're managing them to do what they need to do in order to drive every segment of the business forward in whichever way they need to. So it seems to me very similar to that.
Title. Yeah, I do have the title of CEO though in all of my companies.
Okay.
I'm technically the CEO on paper for all of my companies. It's just, I don't know if I'm filling the position like how somebody else would fill the position in a corporate America job, right?
Fair enough.
I'm assuming they work 9 to 5. If I get an email at 11:49 p.m. and I happen to be awake and in the mood, I'll probably answer it.
I think it depends on where you are in that position. I mean, our CEO is similar to your calendar. It's never ending. From 7 in the morning till 11 o'clock at night, you can expect some kind of response from him if you send it. So to that extent, yeah. I mean, what you're doing is obviously, it takes a very specific mindset, very specific work ethic, and a desire to never be satisfied with what you're doing and what you have, regardless of the outcome of the day. And that's something that's appreciated.
It's never going to be good enough for me, right? I'm never going to feel like, you know what? I made it. Never.
Have there ever been days then, Gogo, where you turn around and you go, I've done enough for the day, I'm checking out?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And what are the conditions that occur in order for you to say, I've done my need to for the day, and I'm going to take a couple of hours off, or I'm going to take the rest of the evening off?
So this whole Thursday, Friday came about because I would say probably, so I got COVID in August of last year.
I'm sorry.
And my symptoms, thank you, just
I'm here,
another day.
so yeah.
And my symptoms were like anybody else's. I got dizzy. So I was like on a boat. I felt like I was seasick for 3 weeks, right? And then it kind of went away, but it never truly 100% went away. And I just pushed myself. And like even while I had COVID, I shot like 40 videos a day, right? Like I was in the middle of actually shooting one of our boot camps and I just had to get it done. So I would wake up, get the videos done, and just die in the afternoon. Trying to get up, get the videos done, die in the afternoon. So anyway, long story short, it kind of went away, didn't fully go away. And I just pushed myself. And about 3 weeks ago, I got so dizzy I was getting dizzy spills, right? But then 3 weeks ago, I got so freaking dizzy. I was actually sitting in this exact position. I was doing one of my lives and I looked down to take a note. And when I looked up, the whole world like was spinning and I'm like, whoa, like I literally had to hold on to the countertop so I don't like plop over. I finished my call. I don't think anybody noticed, right? Like I was a trooper, but I couldn't walk a straight line. I couldn't even walk upstairs.
Wow.
And I was like, I think that mentally, that I handle stress well, but I think what your mind thinks and what your body thinks.
They're two different things.
It's two different things.
Yeah.
So that was my sign that because I enjoy what I do, I really don't know when to stop. So it's my body's trying to tell me, you better stop, because if not, you turn into a job Steve and fall over at 56 and not enough money on earth can buy help.
Yep.
So now I'm forcing myself to put my phone down. Like I literally sometimes tell my husband, just take my phone. Because if it's anywhere near me, I'm just going to grab it and I'm going to check it one more time. Right. And that can't happen. So I clock out, I hide my phone from myself. And I try to literally, like I block my calendar for the rest of my life for Thursdays and Fridays so nobody can get in there.
Wow. I mean, yeah, I could see how that could do it for you. Once it comes to your health, there's really no...
It's time to slow down.
It's the one thing that you can't. So you mentioned 96,330 posts, the number of posts that you've done over the last 12 years of your business. And if anybody wants to replicate what you do, they need to cover that. How are you so creative? What gives you the creative juices to be able to post something different 96,330 times? Because I recently started TikTok thanks to Sammy. He himself recommended that I should start, posting, and there's information that we can hand out as well. But, I kind of get blocked and I get stuck where it's like, all right, I've posted about marketing and B2B marketing and now I don't know where to go. Where does the creativity come? Where do you get inspiration to be able to find something to talk about every single time, which is different than the last?
So Daniel, what did you do today? What are you going to do today? Who did you talk to? What did you learn in this conversation? Was there a takeaway? Later on, are you going to go eat your favorite lunch and tell the world how amazing that restaurant is? And then for dinner, you might say, you know what? I watched this documentary. It was freaking amazing. Let me tell you about it. And there might be a quote, or you might see something on social media you can share that was a great idea. And then you go to bed and you start all over again. I don't think about what I'm going to post. I post whatever pops up in my mind, whatever's happening to me in that moment. Then I have a chance to share it with the world. Run it as like your reality TV, your own little reality TV, right? Where you allow the world to get insight into, snippets of your life and what it takes to be you and what it takes to run these businesses and build these businesses and the good, bad, and the ugly, right? I try not to do a lot of the bad. Very seldom I complain, because what is that? Like the way I look at anything is you have a problem, fix it. Talking about it is not going to take you anywhere. Why? To dwell on the same freaking problem for another hour? Like, no, I don't have time for that, right? So if I have a problem, I fix it. So even though I say good, bad, and the ugly, I don't really talk about the bad too much, because it's mostly somebody's fucking up somewhere.
And we don't want to focus on that.
Excuse my French, right? But yeah, really it's just letting them into your life so the world can see what it takes to be you and what it takes to build what you're building.
So there's a lot of vulnerability in that. Did it take you a little bit of time to get comfortable? I mean, if you're just being as organic as you possibly can, and I'm going to attend that's a lot of the success that you have is the fact that it's so organic for you and you're not necessarily trying to say something with an agenda, right? You're just saying it because you're letting people in. Did it take a little bit of time for you to get comfortable with that, or was that something that you immediately like, you know what, this is easy, let's just go with it?
So I don't know how long you followed me, but this tooth right here is an implant.
Okay.
I didn't have this tooth last year for 8 months. Yeah, you heard it right. I didn't have a front tooth for 8 months. Talking about social media queen with no front tooth, right? So I did, I'm not gonna lie, I had a 3-day pity party. Like when I lost it, I went straight to bed. I cried for an hour and I went straight to bed because I don't want to think about it. I don't want to think about it. I'm just gonna go to bed, right?
Right.
Tomorrow is a new day, I'll figure it out.
Right.
But yeah, I absolutely I share everything. I don't like, we had my best friend's birthday party this weekend and Saturday my feed was full with karaoke songs. All of my friends had wigs on and Halloween costumes and we were standing in a circle here singing 80s. Like it was amazing, right? So I share everything. I literally share like my son had a baseball party yesterday. We went like a baseball game. We went to that. Everything, but the good, bad, and the ugly. And the ugly part was me, no front tooth. But I think that comes from not caring what people think. I really could care less. I always say, Danielle, I'm going to start caring about your opinion as soon as I can pay my bills with it. When I can deposit your opinion into my bank account, I start caring.
That's an interesting mindset. I don't think I've ever, and that has never been stated to me in such a blunt and direct way, and I love it. I love it.
If I can send my kids to college on your opinion, or if I can put grocery in my fridge on your opinion, then maybe I can consider it. But until then, it has no value to me. Your opinion about me is your opinion. It's not my business.
Interesting. Interesting.
I know who I am.
And is that based on confidence, or is that and this might not be the right way, but a lack of the other person's opinion?
I think it's both, right? It's a little bit of both, in my opinion. I truly know who I am. Mm-hmm. Well, let me back it up for a second. Okay. So you understand where this one comes from. So again, back to Eastern Europe, communism. I grew up with parents who never told me they love me. Mm-hmm. Never told me they're proud of me. There was no touchy-feely physically. There was no touchy-feely verbally. The only thing you have is no affection whatsoever, right? And I needed that. So I also, is that 7 love languages or 5 love languages? I can never remember. 5, 7? Do you know the book? The love languages?
Yeah, I've heard of, I haven't read it or looked into it. So I
think it's 7 love languages. And so anyway, I know my love language and how I need to receive. Then I know that I'm loved. I need to hear it.
Okay.
You cannot do for me because I can do anything. Right. So I have the mentality, I can do anything. So no matter what you do for me, that's never going to mean to me that you love me. Mm-hmm. Right. And my parents did for me. They would do anything for me, but they never said it. Mm-hmm. Right. So because they never said it, I thought that I was adopted. Something's wrong with me. Why don't they love me? What's wrong with me? Right. Okay. So because eventually I realized that they're never going to say it. So the only way that I can have for sure love, then I know I'm loved if I give it to myself, right? Because I couldn't control them. The only thing I could control is me. So then I had to learn how to love myself. And so through those years, now I know where to go if I need love. I don't need it from the outside.
You go to yourself.
I go to myself. Mm-hmm. So over time, even if they give it to me from the outside, it has no more value. So just like the negative has no value, the positive has no value either. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I don't look for it on the outside.
It seems like your experience, your nurture has kind of numbed you to the need or the desire of external love because you have so much of it for yourself, which is very unique. I don't think there are too many people who sit in that category with such a strong core value of self-love and
we are talking years. I went down the dark. I went down the dark alley of soul searching, right?
To get to that level, it probably requires quite a bit of internal just recalibration and remodeling and reworking until you've gotten to that, which is definitely something that I'm sure a lot more people strive. Maybe not to the level and of intensity that you have, because that is that's probably very difficult to get to. But kudos to you for really honing in on what's important to you and finding what makes it, what makes you you.
To me, UPW, do you know Tony Robbins?
I do, yes.
So UPW, Unleash the Power Within, that's really, well, it's not what started it, but in the live event format, that's what started it for me. First, I started with Masterclass and Super Soul Sunday with Oprah. Then I went into books and YouTube videos and motivational this and that. Then I went into meditation. And then at some point I got to UPW in person, and that's really what changed my life. Since then, I've done UPW about probably 6 or 7 times. I'm going again this year. I also then from there, I went to Business Mastery, Date with Destiny, like all of those things. It's soul searching is, it's ugly.
Yeah, it could be a journey that doesn't go according to plan if it's done by the wrong person. By the wrong person is generally if you are internally weak, you tend to take the wrong you tend to walk out of there with the wrong mindset and the wrong course of action. So yeah.
But if you get over to the other side, it's so liberating. If you
bet.
figure out who you are and why you are on earth and what's your purpose and what you want to achieve, it's like every day is exciting because you get to live another day to do what you love.
That's awesome. Gogo, any final words for the viewers, for anybody who's either looking to start that soul searching journey or wanting to really get into social media and starting to incorporate that into their business? What are some, words of inspiration you could give someone who's just got that one little blocker that needs one more just to take the first step in moving in the right direction for themselves?
So the quote that started a fire in my soul is this one, and write it down. If you don't build your dreams, someone is going to hire you to build theirs. Everybody's building a dream. You might be building somebody else's if you're on the clock. So if you're in America, wake up, go build your own dreams. I don't know how many lives we have, maybe just one. And if you only have one, then you have to live it out to the fullest. I want to make God proud. Like I want one day, if I make it to the pearly gates of heaven, to be like, you know what, God, every skill that you put in me, I put it to a good test. Like I feel good. I lived life. Many people just have a life. They don't live life. They're just kind of floating through. It's like, as I like to say, they're definitely running, but they're on a treadmill going nowhere. Right? Like figure out where you at, where are you going? And we all have an internal GPS, and your GPS is going to give you 7 different options to be like, do you want to walk it? Do you want to get on a bike? Do you want a trolley? Do you want a car? Do you want to order an Uber? Like do you want to skip highways? Do you want to skip dirt roads? Like there's going to give you 17 different ways how to get there, but most people don't know where there is.
Where they're going.
They didn't set a goal.
Right.
They're just kind of going somewhere. So figure out where you're going. You have an internal GPS and we'll tell you exactly how to get there.
Love it.
And don't build somebody else's dream.
Love it.
Build your own.
Love it. Well, Gogo, thank you so much for spending this time with us. I really enjoyed this conversation. It's definitely one where I'm going to take, and at least if not just for the entire week, then for today, it's definitely going to be the driving force of me really making sure I live every moment today to the best of my ability. So thank you, and thanks for spending the time with us today.
Thank you so much for having me. Thank you,
It was an
Daniel.
absolute pleasure. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you on the next one.